Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning. We don't know where you're tuning in from, so good day to all of you, and thank you so much for joining us once again. This is session 4 of our student engagement, and we are going to be going over this really long title right now, which is the Modern Sticky Note, Interactive Collaboration Platforms and Student Response Systems. We know it sounds super boring, but we promise it's super exciting. It's a continuation of what we've been doing last week, and we're really excited to show these things because this is what people have been asking for. So my name is Teresa Castro.
And I am Ricardo Recinos.
And we are both Tectosas from Hacienda La Puente Unified School District. All right, so our objective today is kind of a repeat of what we did last week, but because it's a similar topic. Spark students to learn, collaborate, and engage in active ways by modernizing your sticky note instead of our whiteboard from last week, right? So our purpose this week is to bring learning to life with Padlet, PollEverywhere, Mentimeter, and Vevox. We know there are so many platforms out there. There were so many. It was really hard for us to narrow them down, but we didn't want to keep you here all night long. And so this is what we chose, but we know... He started singing. Oh, it's going to be one of those nights. I like it. So we know that there's a lot. You can collaborate on things like Google Docs, on Microsoft Word, and slides and PowerPoint. You could use those simple tools in there. We don't have time for that today, but we know that it's in there. We've seen a lot of you using it. And if we do have time, we'll get to forms as well, but we'll see how the time goes. But this is what we're going to try to do today. And if we have more time, we'll add more to it. So our non-purpose is we don't expect you to be an expert at anything we're doing today. And don't throw out everything you've been doing. Please, you've been doing wonderful things, and do not feel limited to what we share today.
So let's go ahead and get started.
So we're just going to get right into it, everybody. Okay, so here's how we're kind of going to take it today. We're going to tell you a little bit about it. We're going to show you the student view. We're going to show you the teacher view. And we're going to be learning along with you. So you're probably going to see us mess up a little bit here, but we're all human. That's how things go. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is Padlet, which is pretty much, it's a virtual bulletin board. You know how, you would have your kids write something on a little sticky note, and then you would have them participate and put it up on the board. This is essentially the same thing, right? Instead of them having write it on a post-it, you're actually having them do it online virtually so you could see it in real time. So here's some examples here. They can use different devices in order to use it. There's lots of different aesthetic things you can do to make it more pleasing to look at and organize it in however you want. So instead of talking more about it, let's go ahead and see what it looks like from the student point of view.
Yeah, I think the best way I can describe it to is like a notice board, I guess, where everybody gets to collaborate and bring in their opinions or whatever you might be asking from them. I know if we have time, we'll show you how it looks like from the foreign language classroom, where I will use it all the time. So I think it's a great tool to have. And you're going to see how Teresa's going to use it today.
All right, so here's from a student point of view. Here's one we just kind of threw together right now for you to see. So Ricardo's a student right now. He's going to go ahead. It's so easy. You really have to really explain to the students how to use it. They just simply click on the little plus button, and Ricardo's just going to show us the view, so you can kind of talk us through, Ricardo.
Okay, so we noticed, because we've used Padlet a lot, that during summer, Padlet went ahead and updated some of the options that you have here. So notice I'll click that again. Before, you used to be able to just click and write your answer and have some choices. But when we click on it, now we get all this subject over here. Okay, so I could add a subject if I wanted to in here. As a student right here, I also have the ability to just write. So if I wanted to come in here and say, I love Padlet, obviously. Okay, I love... let's see, Google, I love Microsoft. Okay, and if I wanted to just write that, and I can just notice that I can change the color if I wanted to for my writing. So maybe I want to do it in green, okay? And I'll come in here and click on it, okay? And you're going to see that I'm going to publish it. And then notice that my little sticky note kind of became green right now over here. Okay, so that's when I put it in there. I think Teresa's the one that threw that in. Or maybe it was me that threw that in. I'm not even sure. Maybe it was me. I wrote it before. What I did want to show you, though, as a student, though, I have other options that I can do in here, okay? So in addition to being able to type something, I also have the ability to upload, okay? So I can come in here and maybe upload a picture. Maybe I can upload a video if I wanted to. So another option the students have is that they actually can use their camera to take a photo. So if I click on here, it's going to try to start the camera. It might ask them which camera they want to use the first time they try to use it. So if I go in here, if I have more than one camera, I can click on it and notice that it's going to try to open the camera. And then now I can come in here and just take a picture. So I could hold, maybe I could hold my book up for something that I did, right? And I have something that the kids actually wrote, maybe their notes, maybe in their lab, and I can just put that picture up. I'm just going to take a picture. Okay. And that's the 1, 2, 3, right? Save. And notice that once we save it, it's going to ask you for some options, and it's going to try to put it in there. There we go. And then let's go ahead and publish that. And notice how the picture went in there too. So that's kind of a great tool to have. So think about those kids that they could use their notes maybe that they want to put up there. Maybe they want to go outside and they're showing you something outside. Help me out with this, Teresa. Phenomenon, is that what it's called? And in GSS,
Phenomenon.
there you
Yeah.
go, right? So
Yeah.
you could use it for something like that. So that's kind of a great tool to have. Continuing, you also have the obvious ability to link something. Okay, so I can click for a link right here. Notice when I click, I get all these options, okay? But I can link. Now that it knows my camera, I have all these options right here too. I can search for an image. I can bring YouTube. I mean, they have so many options. Spotify is in here, a GIF, web search. I'm
Yeah.
sure
When
the
in
kids will have.
doubt, click on the link one because it shows you everything. I don't know why it does that, but
Right. So
yeah.
it did that when we did that, right? So I know our kids will
Yeah.
have fun with those GIFs. So you do have all these options when, I mean, at least not we, but the students do actually have those options right there. And then over here, notice that I can look for a picture. Kind of, we got it from the link too, but I can get it there. And then over here, finally, it gives me all of the options too. When I click on the link, it does that. But think about all of the options you have from here when you have that ability. Think about as a foreign language teacher trying to teach another language to the students. I think I mentioned this before. It was very difficult for me to make 40 students speak in class. But now think about it. If everybody gets a minute, they all come in here, they click the audio recording, and they're able to record, whether it be answering a prompt that I might have here, a couple of prompts that I might have here. They all come and answer. And now we have all of the answers of the kids with their own voices being able to speak. So just in a nutshell, that is basically how a student will use Padlet. Right, Teresa?
Yeah, absolutely. And just to go back to, find, like, for example, this mint and chip. I don't know whose favorite flavor that is. Just kidding. That's mine. So when the kids go in to search for images, they used to have to download it from the internet and then upload it here as a file. That's no longer the case. In Padlet, you can actually do the search and search for the actual image they need and just automatically puts it up here. So it's just, it's just simplified. Padlet was around for a long time and they've done so many changes. And, one day we came and we're like, what happened? Everything looks different. We panicked a little bit, but we realized that they added so much. So if you haven't been in here lately, make sure you go back in because it's just amazing what they've done with it. So what's your favorite flavor?
Rocky Road. I was trying to put that in there. Something that we didn't mention, and I got confused with that, but notice that also the way Teresa set this up as a teacher, and she'll talk about it later, is that she allowed the students in that class to be even more engaged and to comment on whatever their classmate posted in here. So I could come in and post and comment on something that Teresa wrote here. Great job, right? And then notice that my comment is going to add in there, and the students could keep doing that on that same particular post or on their own post, and so on and so on. So kind of a great tool to get the students engaged and talking in here too.
And another thing that, you'll see it in our options when you go over it later, but I also gave them the ability to rate. You could see over here the star. They can rate each other. I mean, we probably don't want kids rating one another, but, that's kind of a really interesting conversation you can have about certain things. How close does this come to the prompt? You can, kind of have that conversation. So that's an option. They can dislike, they can heart things, they can rate. And we'll talk about that later when we actually go into the platform and we actually create one. So, Ricardo, I think at this point, they're ready to see it from the teacher's point of view. So we're going to go ahead and share my screen right now. So I'm right here. I'm looking at the student point of view. But here I am in my dashboard. I'm just going to show you a few samples. And Ricardo, did you want to show them a sample too? Because I know you have a million gazillion in yours. So I'm just going to show a few right now while you think about it. Okay?
Sure, go ahead.
All right. So here's one right here. There's just lots of different options. They don't have to be that way. This is one that Ricardo did, and he just asked them to respond. And it's not organized in columns or anything. It just kind of goes everywhere like a bulletin board. And that's one of the options there. Here's another one very similar to what we were doing right now. It's just very organized, and, they can scroll through the information. We'll talk about it more when we actually go into it. Ricardo, do you want to show them one, or I'm going to go ahead and show them how to do it?
No, go ahead and show 'em what you're doing. Something that I do love, and I think we kind of take for granted is that once we start this, I think I used this in a PD that I did for world languages, but it becomes a great resource. People can go back to it. People keep adding resources or posts to it, and it just becomes this humongous board that is always going to be there. And I know I always go back and I'm like, what was that resource that the teacher shared for me to use music in my Spanish class? And
Right.
I can just go to that Padlet and find it automatic because I know it's always there.
Absolutely. So we forgot to mention everything that we're sharing today. These are free. And of course, there are paid versions for them. But we know there's a lot of free things out there that barely give you anything in the free version. But these ones give you a pretty substantial amount of options. So the free version is still good. I think they would be good enough. And if you want to pay for them, go for it. But these are free. So I wanted to show you on this account because I think it now, if you sign up now, I think it allows you 3 or is it 5? I'm not sure what it is. But I don't want to say how many Ricardo has because for some reason he got grandfathered into like getting more. We're not going to talk about it because it makes me mad. But that look on your face.
Don't tell Padlet, please.
Oh, okay. This never happened. Edit. Just kidding. Okay, so I'm just going to take you through this dashboard, and Ricardo is going to interject all the time. And please do, because I know we all know different things, right? So it's really easy. When you first sign up, it does show you kind of a tutorial on how to do it, but it really is a place where you can just play around and figure it out. So of course we have Make a Padlet. You can just start from scratch there. You could join a Padlet. I said Padlet. Padlet. You can actually go into the gallery, and these are, some awesome, really cool ones that you can use as templates. So there are so many in there. Again, we love not starting from scratch, right? So you can go into that. But I'm just going to take you into actually making a Padlet right here. So I'm going to go make a Padlet, and here are your actual choices. And Ricardo, I know you have something on your
No,
mind, so go ahead.
I was just gonna say just the same thing we did with Pear Deck and we did with Flipgrid. It's like there's no need for you to reinvent the wheel. I was going through the gallery as Teresa was actually talking about it, and I've actually never spent time in there, but I saw dinosaur time periods, I saw book reports, I saw Venn diagrams, I saw all these things that are already there for you, fiction prompts, responses, so things that are already there, KWL. So there's no need for you to reinvent the wheel if you can find something that is going to work in your classroom. Scavenger hunt. So thank you for sharing that because I've actually never gone in there.
Yeah, see, we're learning every day too. I mean, every day we're like, whoa, I didn't know about that. So very cool. Okay, so here I am. I'm making a new one. So here are your actual options here. You could do a wall. It just kind of makes it organized, kind of like it says right here, like brick-like layout. The stream, which is kind of just brings them top to bottom, just one column over there. The grid puts them in rows of boxes. The shelf is the one we use most. Obviously, you saw our sample where, it kind of categorizes the ideas or your questions or your prompts for them. It's just for us, that's just, more helpful for what we do. They also now have a map where they can actually pinpoint things in a map or in an image. They have a canvas where it just kind of scatters and you can connect them and, kind of like that. And then they also have the timeline too. So many more options than they did before. It's pretty amazing. But I'm going to take you into shelf just because that's when we see used the most. And essentially the features are the same for all of them. So I'm just going to select that. And it changes every time I make one. I guess it thinks it's Valentine's Day. I'm not sure. And then it says my grand Padlet made with charm. So we could change the title to demo, and then I don't know, training, any description you want. An icon, you can have no icon if you want, or you could choose an emoji, anything. You can even add your own icon at the bottom, where you could search for images, just like we did earlier for the students. You could search for images out there on the web. You can take a photo, you can draw. It's up to you. I'm just going to search for something. I don't know. We're doing tech for today, right? So let's see what shows up for tech. Ooh, well, these are really cool. I don't know. I'm going to choose this one because it's not important. All right, so you can see over here on the left, my little icon showed up over there. And you can change your wallpaper because this beautiful Valentine's wallpaper probably is not appropriate for what I'm going over right now. So you could do colors, gradients, textures, pictures. You could add your own. You could search again if you wanted to. I'm just going to use a picture since I'm here. Ooh, this one's kind of cool. I would do the windmill, but then that would distract me. But I'm going to go ahead and choose this. Oh, I like it. Okay, so we just keep going back. And you can choose your color scheme as well. You can choose the font, lots of things that you could personalize. You can display the author name above each post. So you can have them actually put their names, or you can leave that off. That's up to you. New position. This is, for me, this is a big deal. Some people don't really care. Where do you want new posts to go? So as students add new posts, do you want them to come to the top so everyone's posts get bumped down? Or do you want to leave them in order so that the new ones just keep going down? So if you want to see the latest ones, you scroll to the bottom. I like to do that. I like the new ones to be at the bottom because I don't want people to get bumped down. But, you know, it's just a preference. It really doesn't matter. Allow comments. I would probably allow comments. Right here, reactions. This is what I was talking about earlier. When you click on this, you can have no reactions. They can like posts if they want. They can like each other's posts. They can vote. You know, they like it or they don't. You know, kind of. You know, think of what you would use that for. Earlier, I had the star where they're rating something, and then you can actually grade. You can give numeric scores as well. So this is not just for you. This is for the students. This is them interacting with one another. So I'm just going to put this one because that one is the most common. And if you want, you could require approval. You know, if they're just starting with it and you're not sure if, you know, they would be responsible with using it with their comments, you could require approval at first. But, you know, I mean, in general, we suggest that you don't, because we just want it to be kind of a free-for-all, everyone to get their ideas flowing, but it depends on your purpose, of course. And you could filter profanity as well. So lots of options here. Anything you wanted to add here, Ricardo?
No, I think as a best practice, and I think we mentioned this with Flipgrid too, is that maybe at the beginning when you're training your students to use this, maybe you do want to filter the content as you're getting them used to it, and eventually, as you learn your class and you learn to trust your students, you might want to switch that out. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to go to next because we're still in the creation right now, and then we could start posting if we want. Oops. I'm just going to click that so that we come to it. Okay, so here I am. So I selected the one where we have columns. So I would just simply put a column. Maybe we're getting to know each other. I don't know. What's your favorite color? I don't know. Maybe this is the beginning of the school year, kind of getting to know you thing. And then you would save it and you just simply go to the next one. What's another getting to know you thing? How are you today? I'm just making this up right now. Anyways, I think you get it. You just continue to add columns as you go along. But let me go ahead and go back up to the top, these options up here. So you can remake this. You can make a copy of this, and you can make a copy of just your design or copy the posts as well. So I'm not going to actually remake that. You can share this as well. So I can actually invite members. So if I wanted Ricardo to be able to edit this with me, I could invite him as a collaborator. Down here, sharing, this is how you share it with the actual students to be able to interact with it. So you can copy the link, you can stick it in your Zoom, you can stick it in whatever platform you're using as a link. You can get the QR code, you can get the embed code, and we're going to show that to you in a moment, how you can embed it in certain things using that embed code. You can send an email, Facebook, etc., etc., etc. You can even export this as well. So you could export it and all the responses and everything. So lots of options here. Okay, I'm just going to close that. And then when you go to the settings, this is back to where we were. So in case you're like, I changed my mind, I don't really like this background anymore, you can go back and you can go there and you can edit anything you need. Okay, and the 3 dots, we always check that out to see what it is. And it's essentially all the things I already said, but just kind of a little organized area here. So you could remake it, you can invite people, you can embed it, export, modify, you can clear all posts if you want to start over, and you could archive it, you could delete it. Okay, so lots of different things that you could do here. Okay, you could also delete it from the dashboard, the main dashboard from earlier. Okay, so that was the basics of Padlet. We know there's lots of other features that we could talk about, but that's enough to get you through making your first one. But Ricardo, go ahead.
Teresa, I was going to say, when you go to how to share it with your students, something that I've had trouble with, and I know this was embarrassing, we created one, and when we set it up, the privacies were set to private, and then we thought our participants were actually writing, and I never switched that. Can you show that? And I know you showed it, but I just want to make sure.
Who did that happen to? That wasn't us. I'm just kidding. Yeah, it was totally us. All right, so things we learned, like I said. So thank you for remembering that. So right here, change privacy. You can keep it secret, so it's hidden from the public. So if you share it, it's only accessible to people who actually have the link. You can keep it. We had it private, so no, even though they had the link, they couldn't get into it. That's how smart we were at the moment. Okay, so you can require a password if you want. Only members. If you have this, and public, this is for everybody. They could find it and they could go ahead and interact with it. But we do suggest, them being able to access it if they have the link. I think that's the safest way, but it's up to you what you're using it for, okay? You can also change your permissions right here. So whoever comes in as a visitor, can they just read? Maybe this is just for parents. Maybe you just want to give them a read version so that the parents can't go in and start entering stuff as students, right? So maybe you want a read version. They can write on it or they can edit. Okay, I don't think I would let all the students edit, but again, it depends on your purpose. Okay, so thank you for remembering that.
Just because I know we learn from experiences, right?
Yeah. So, we can embed this in whenever you hear the word embed, you can embed it pretty much anywhere, whether it's a PowerPoint, a Google slide, into your LMS for us, which is Canvas. Ricardo, do you want to show them that now or you want to save it to the end when we
You know
go
what?
into
Since
Canvas?
we're already here, I think we can show that right now.
Sure.
Yeah, and this
Let's
is
go for it.
something that I think is also a best practice. We don't want our students to be opening different windows and get lost and so on and so on. So we learned that the most that we can do to keep them inside of Canvas, which is our LMS, the better it is for our students not to get confused and lost and so on and so on. So it's very simple. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go into the Padlet that we started with. And remember that we answered these questions, right? But I want my students to do this inside of Canvas. So as Teresa mentioned, I can go to the share button up here. I can just say embed or embed in your blog or website. So click on that. And notice that you're going to have a code right here that you can grab, okay? I'm just going to copy it. So I'm just going to copy it. And I'm going to go back to, again, we use Canvas. And I'm just going to put it on a page. So I have a page that I've opened. I created a new page. I just called it Padlet sample right here. And then I'm going to go into the rich content editor over here. It may look a little bit different to you. It might be like, what's going on here? This is the rich content editor by default, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the bottom, and I actually want to use HTML because if you remember, that's what I brought from the Padlet, right? It was that HTML code. So let me go into the HTML editor, click on it, okay? And now that I'm here, I'm just going to throw it in there. That code that we got from sharing the embed code, and I'm just going to save or save and publish if I'm ready, but I'm just going to save it right now. And notice that now when we do that, now we're going to have that Padlet inside of Canvas. So now we don't have to leave. We don't have to go anywhere. Our students can come in here and add a response if they wanted to. And notice that everything that we had outside on the Padlet website is going to work inside of Canvas.
That's amazing because now you don't have to provide the link. You don't have to do a QR code. It's already where you are providing instructions. So I know our district uses Canvas, but other districts use other things. This does work in Google. It does work in Microsoft. So whenever you see embed code, just remember you could actually embed it in somewhere. And again, another best practice, another layer to your instructions. So very awesome. Thank you for showing that. Sure. And we're not going to show that for everything we do today, but just know it works the same way in essence in all the things that we show today that provide the embed code. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on if you feel we're ready. Ricardo, are you okay with that?
Yes, Padlet, one of my favorite tools that we can use for our students to collaborate together. The one that we want to show you next is PollEverywhere. I've been using this for the past, 15, 16 years, forever in my classroom.
40 years.
Yeah, probably. And the reason why I've used it is because I've noticed that the level of engagement that I get from my students, it's just up there. They seem to be engaged. They seem to understand some of the points that I'm trying to make when I'm in my AP Spanish class. But I wanted to give you an idea of what it is. Basically, it's a if I could choose the words. Remember when we used to have like a little whiteboard and everybody would like show their answer, and we have like 30 people showing answers if they wanted to do like ABC, or then we had those little buttons, I don't know, the clickers things that you went A, B, C, and you were able to respond, and you'll be able to see it with those smart monitors, I guess. Prometheum, if I can remember, that's the right name of one of them that I had. Well, PollEverywhere, basically, it's a student response system, if I can call it that. And then what you can do is that you can use it inside of, as Teresa mentioned, you can embed it in Canvas. But with PollEverywhere, you also can use it with PowerPoint or with Google Slides. So as you're going through, think about a formal pear deck, if you wanted to put it that way. As you're going through your presentations, you can put in questions in there for the kids to be able to answer if you chose to do it inside of PowerPoint or Google Slides, but you also can do it outside of it. So just to show you how this will work, okay? So I'm in my PowerPoint right now. I'm going to get out of it really quick, and I'm going to go to the next slide, okay? And I said I wanted to insert a poll here, okay? So what I want to show you is that it's very, very easy to do, okay? If you did it inside of PowerPoint, the first thing that you would do, obviously, is you have to add the add-in. That's what it's called. So remember that in PowerPoint, they're called add-ins, not add-ons. So I'm going to go into insert, and if I go all the way to the right to the three dots over here, I have the option to add add-ins, okay? You're going to notice that I already have PollEverywhere, and hopefully it's going to load right now. Okay, it's going. And notice that these are the ones that I use the most. Okay, if you don't see it in here, you basically have to go to the store and look for it and look for PollEverywhere, and you'll be able to find it. Okay, but I already have it in here. Okay, so I'm just going to click on it and I'm going to say add. Okay, and the first time that I add it, it's actually going to say, well, do you have an account? Okay, so once I do that, it's going to say, do you want to log in? Okay, so let me launch the login window and it's going to launch it for me. And I'm probably going to have to log in. So let's give it a second. Okay, so let's go ahead and log in here. Okay, you're going to have to go ahead and put in your password. So let me go ahead and go in there. Okay, and in essence, it's taking you into PollEverywhere. That's what it's doing, okay, which I will show you in a second, but I'm already here because I wanted to make sure that you saw it. So it's in here. It's going to give me access to questions that I already had before, okay? So all of my questions that I have are in here before, or I can create a new one if I wanted to, but just go into the plus. So I could come in here and insert something that I've already created from my account, and you'll notice that I have a lot. We'll show you that in a second. Again, my 40 years of using PollEverywhere, as Teresa said. But I can come in here and just say plus, okay? Okay, and then I have options, okay? And you have many options. You have the multiple choice. If you wanted to use the multiple choice, you have the word cloud that I love. It's probably one of my favorites.
Yes, me too.
You can use that one too, and we'll use that one in a second, but just wanted to show you. And it will explain you what each of them does, okay? You can have a true or false question in here. Untitled open-ended questions, also a great tool, okay? Maybe you can use it as an exit slip if you wanted to use it as that, or as an entry slip to get the conversation going. You can have that too. Ranking activity where the kids get to rank different items, okay? Very similar, the clickable image now, okay? So you can have that clickable image where the kids come and click somewhere to make sure. So if you think about Pear Deck in our session last time, very similar questions, okay? Over here, you also have the idea to do just a question and answer, a survey if you wanted to. So there's many, many options that you can use, okay? But I'm just going to do the word cloud. So that's the one that I want to use, okay? So I'm creating the activity. Okay, so it says you created an activity. So let me go ahead and edit it. So my question for today will be a good question. What is your favorite color? Is that good?
Sure.
Okay, so that's my question that I want to have. And notice that I can come in here and upload an image if I wanted to. Okay, just so you see that. I can have a lot of options in here. Okay, allow changing answers if I want the students. Maybe they make a mistake and they want to change their answer. So maybe I want to leave that on. Okay, allow to undo the responses to respond again. That's basically what that is. You can limit responses per person if you wanted to. I don't like to do that with my students. I want to be able to let them be free to respond. So I can leave that on. Okay. I actually, at the beginning, I like to have this anonymous. I don't want my kids to feel that their name is going to show up, or they might get something wrong, or they might be put on the spot with the answer they submitted. So that's completely up to you. But I'm going to turn that on right now, okay? And notice that when you do that, it's going to apply to anything, past, present, or future responses for this activity. So let me leave that one, and it tells you that you can undo this, okay? You can restrict participants if you wanted to have them who are registered to the presentation that you're doing. You can do that. I don't have to do it since we're doing it in class right now. And then from the web, how they're going to respond. And I like to use from the web. I've noticed that when I add the text messaging, my students get confused. They go and they don't understand that they have to type these 5 numbers. That's who they're texting to. And then they have to type my code name, which is Recinos, and then type the answer. It becomes 3 or 4 different steps that they have to do. So I don't like to use that. I like the just the web one. So I'm ready to go. So I'm going to insert that there, okay? So here it goes. What is your favorite color? Is going to come in here. Now that it's in there, you're going to notice that I also can change the settings, the visual settings of it if I wanted to, okay? So I have the option to go classic, and I always seem to pick the dark one. I'm not sure why. I just like the setting for this particular one. And the settings again. So now if I present this, just want to show you what it looks like. Okay, it's going to open it up for us. It's going to be ready to go, and it's going to put the PollEverywhere in there, and it's going to ask that question. Here it comes. What is your favorite color? So if you notice, it's asking the students to go to pollev.com/Recinos. And I can actually do that from my phone. And my students do this from their phone all the time. And let me go in there so we can show you. And if you give us a second. Okay, so I'm going there. And Teresa, glitter is not a color, but okay. Oh, sunset. Okay. What's next? Fuchsia. Okay, so
fuchsia is a color. These are all colors. You wouldn't say that to your students.
Something that you will realize, and what we love is that notice that I am maybe like 5 of my students pick blue, right, an actual color, um, you will notice what's going to happen is that it's going to make that word larger and larger, right? So now we see and we can lead, this will lead to conversations that are very interesting. I've used this in my class. I'll put a picture of the next novel that we're going to read, and I say, what themes come to mind when you see that picture? What do you think this novel is going to be about based on just this particular picture, right? And my students start giving just words out there, and then they, as more and more use the same words. So maybe, I don't know, magical realism or something like that. We can kind of start talking about what's going to happen in the book or what we think is going to, the themes are going to be, and so on and so on. And notice how that's changing on the spot. It's live, real time. And you can't get this anywhere else. When you do something like this, it just creates that engagement because the kids are actually doing it on the spot. So we do love PollEverywhere, and we wanted to make sure that you saw the word cloud. Anything that I missed with that particular part, or how you would add it to the PowerPoints, Teresa?
No, can you show them the student view too, just really quickly? Just go to my screen really quickly, just so that
Sure.
we can
Yes,
see.
definitely.
So from the student point of view, since he allowed me to do as many as I wanted, I could just continue to, and you saw how it showed up in the cloud. And again, like Ricardo said, just the changing of the size, it's just such another conversation there. So this is what it looks like for the kids. Very simple compared to having to text it and everything. So this is preferred, very easy, and it shows up in his presentation. So,
and again, they could have done it from their phone and it would have been the same experience. So for those high school kids, they just use their phone and they just go on and on with the next question. Something that I could have done, I could have added 4, 5, 6 different slides with questions, and they would have used the same code, that /Recinos. And once I moved to the next slide, the next prompt would have showed up for them and they would have been able to answer that. And it didn't have to be a word cloud. It could have been true or false. It could have been a ranking and so on and so on. So it would have let the kids, as I'm going through the PowerPoint. That is why I like to use it through PowerPoint, because it does take the kids step by step to each of the ones that I've added, because I am going to show you that right now. So this was in Office 365, but we do want to be fair through Google, because Google actually does have this ability too. So let me show you what that looks like really quick. Okay, so let me go ahead and open this right here. And I'm just going to go to, let me just go to Google. You know what? Let me use this particular one. This might be better. Okay, here it goes. So I'm in here and I have a, reload. And I'm here and I have my slides right now. Okay, and I'm just gonna open any of them. It doesn't matter which one it is, because I'm not gonna go through the whole setup, because it's gonna be the same thing, very, very similar. But I do want to show you that maybe I do have a slides presentation that I'm using. Okay, and notice that, okay, this is a little different. Okay, you do not get it through add-ons. Okay, so if I went to add-ons in here and I try to go get an add-on, I look for PollEverywhere, you will never find it. It's not going to work like that. It's actually a Chrome extension that gets embedded into Google Slides. So what you will need to do for this is you will just go to the Chrome Web Store. A little bit more steps on Google Slides when it comes to PollEverywhere. You're going to go to the Web Store, and then now you're going to look for PollEverywhere. Okay. Once you find it, it's right here. I'm going to click on it, and then you will have the option to add it to your Chrome. Okay. And once you do that, it's going to add it as an extension that is going to show up here. If it doesn't show up, you just got to go over here to the puzzle and make sure that you pin it so you can see it. Okay, but it is going to add it once you hit it over here, and it's going to show right up here. And the moment you do that, it's also going to add it inside of your Google Slides, kind of like magic. It's going to appear as an option right next to Google Slides. So you're never going to see it until you add that extension right there. But once you have it, you will just click on it, and you'll be able to insert. If you're logged in, you'll be able to just insert, add new, and so on and so on. And it's going to be the same steps essentially that I did in Office 365, but I wanted to make sure that you do have that option. We've also seen a lot of our teachers that like to use it from just the PollEverywhere website. So I'm going to go there so you can see it, okay? So I have so many tabs open. So I'm in here on PollEverywhere.com, and I'm going to log in, okay? You have the ability to use Google if you wanted to in here. You're going to notice that I just have an account, like I said, before Google was even part of this. Maybe before Google existed, I already had a PollEverywhere account.
While dinosaurs roamed the earth.
Right. So here we are. So I'm in here. Okay. And what I wanted you to see is that, yes, notice that by default, the current plan, everything we're showing you right now, it's the free version. It allows 40 responses per activity. I'm lucky enough that I don't have over 40 students in my class. So I think it's more than enough spaces, but you might have more than 40, just throwing that out there. But it's in here. Notice that it's always going to go to /Recinos. And what I wanted you to see is that in here, as I was mentioning, I have all of the ones that I created. So you notice that I have a lot of questions in here, and a lot of them are logged because I've used them and then I haven't used them again, but I can just come in here and turn them back on so I can use them again, okay? If I wanted to duplicate them and so on and so on. Something that I wanted to show is that you have the ability to create folders too. So if I went through here, I'm gonna be like looking for that question, right? So if I wanted to be organized, right, I could come in here and create folders, and inside of folders, I was doing pretérito or past tense. Notice that inside of here, I had the 4 questions that were inside of my PowerPoint or inside of PollEverywhere that I can put together in here so they can see them right inside as I go one by one. So again, I don't have to function out of Office 365. I can come in here, create an activity. Okay, it's going to give me the options to do it. Competition, it's one that is available here that you didn't see before. Word cloud, if I wanted to do it right, the title, right, the color, and I will be able to add it, and they will be able to complete it inside of PollEverywhere instead of doing it inside of Office 365. So I don't know if you have a preference, Teresa, when it comes to where you will want to do it inside of PollEverywhere or Office 365. Notice the same idea, right? The kids are going to go to poll.com/Recinos and be able to put their answer. I have the ability to do the text for this one for my kids, but again, they just get very, very confused. They're like, wait, I'm texting to Recinos, or am I texting to this number, or what am I doing? So that texting becomes very confusing. So I actually don't recommend that, okay? You have the ability to just present if I wanted to. There it is, and it's going to be, and this has become that slide that became an Office PowerPoint, okay? So it's the same idea. So it works the same way. So completely up to you on how you want to use it. It's whatever works for you. If you feel comfortable with Google Slides, I will do it in Google Slides. If you feel comfortable with PowerPoint, I will do it there. And if you feel comfortable doing it right in here, I will also do it in here, okay? One thing before I forget, the sharing, right? Here we go. Same thing that Teresa talked about. I could take the link and send it through Zoom, send it through my MLS, but I also can copy the embed code and put it inside of Canvas if I wanted to do that. The same idea, basically. Okay.
Yeah, don't be afraid of the embed code. A lot of teachers are like, no, I don't know how to do coding and things like that. But it's, it's so simple. And once you know how to do it, it's amazing. It opens so many doors. So I wanted to add a little bit more. Are you ready, Ricardo?
Yeah, let me share my screen.
Yeah, so if you are just starting, it has changed a little bit because I started a new account just earlier just for this presentation. And so when you go in and ask you what you are going to be using it for, and then it gives you suggestions on what you would use. Like for me, I selected education. So it gave me these options that Ricardo had mentioned before. This is just like, I'm just starting an account. This is what you would see if you were just starting. And another thing that I wanted to also add to what Ricardo said earlier, he might have said it and I missed it because I have a tendency to do that. I'm so sorry. But as he went through these options, you can go to more and you have all these other options here. For example, this emotion scale, you click on that and you didn't have to do anything. You just kind of clicked on it and then you can create it and it's just right there and the students can drop pin and see how they're doing. I know this is SEL is very heavy right now, especially as we're coming back from distance learning. So activities like this, just to see how they're doing, how they're feeling, really important. So if I were you, I would go through all of these and see what these are all about and see how you could use them in your class with your kids. There's so much stuff in here that wasn't here before. So again, if you were using PollEverywhere before, it is so much better now. So give it another chance and go back in there and play.
And yeah, great point, Teresa. I didn't even know that was there. Like I said, when I started, I never got those options before. Like I used it for education, I using it for this. I was just using it, and I wanted to find a way to help my students collaborate and be able to be engaged. And this was a great tool that to this day, as you can see, they keep adding new features, and it's still a great tool for them to be engaged.
Yep. Thank you. Okay, so I think we're ready now to move on to our next one. And we're kind of running short of time, so we'll see how quickly we can get through these last two. And so this next one is Mentimeter. This has been around for a while. This is in essence the same thing, word clouds, things like that. But instead of talking about it, let's go ahead and take you through one and then take you through the teacher dashboard just to kind of help you. And so here is from the student point of view, I just made one that said, how much do you love this meal? Breakfast, lunch, dinner. I'm always thinking about food. And so Ricardo right now as a student, he's he likes all three of them.
I like to eat.
He likes to eat. Okay, I like it.
So there you go. So yeah, so notice that the type of question that Teresa put for us, that you're just sliding it. Pretty nice, actually. I like this one.
Okay,
The
so go
different
ahead
colors.
and go ahead and share my screen, Ricardo. Okay, so this is the presentation view that you would, show your kids as they're entering responses. This is so they can see in real time what other students are choosing. So you could see that, someone before Ricardo obviously did not. Oh, is he moving it around? Are you moving it?
I enter my answer, so probably that's
Was
why it
that you?
changed.
Okay,
And it was real time. That's
so
amazing.
he's doing that. And as other students do it, then you'll kind of see it move around and it will average it out. And and again, such a great conversation starter, right? Seeing the kids love seeing their work up there and then having a conversation about, wow, a lot of people don't like breakfast. I wonder why. Great things that you could do. So this is just another option. We just wanted to show you a quick sample before you actually take you into it. So I'm going to go ahead and take you into it now. So let me kind of find my way back to where I was. Okay, so here we are in Mentimeter. And Ricardo, again, please interject. These are the ones that I'm not as well versed in, but I do love to play with it. So in Mentimeter, I just created this account, or I went back to this account from before. So here's my presentations. You can create a new presentation. Again, you can have folders like what Ricardo mentioned before with, was it in Padlet? No, for PollEverywhere. Okay. And you can upgrade, but this education version gives you enough. Okay, so we can create a new presentation. We'll just start from the beginning. We'll just give it a name, demo, create presentation. And it's pretty simple. So here you are, you can add different slides. So just like what we did in the other platforms, you could add multiples. You could ask different questions. So on the right, you have multiple choice. You just hover over and it shows you what it does. So multiple choice, word cloud, open-ended questions. This looks familiar, right? Kind of similar to the other platforms we just went over, just another option. Scale is what we did in our demo. You can actually rank things. So rank them around and see like, what do you like best? Or what do you think, is the plot of the story? Lots of different ways there. You can Q&A. You can actually, you can do more competitive things down here. You can add different slides because it's kind of like a slideshow in itself. So as you're doing all these different items, you can put a heading, you can put paragraph, bullets. I mean, you can go through this yourself. We're not going to read all of those to you. And some of the things are only for premium. So just know that, you won't be able to do all of them. But you can just play with all of these. I'll just make one just for the sake of the demonstration. So multiple choice, I just clicked on it. I asked the question, what do you like to do at recess? Obviously, I'm more elementary and Ricardo's more high school. So I don't know, swings and all. Another one. What else do they like to? Oh, slide. I don't know why I asked Ricardo. He wouldn't know. I'm just kidding. He knows, of course he does. All right, so, and you can see it change right there for them, okay? And then from here, you go ahead and make more. You just add another slide and you can make another one and et cetera, et cetera. It just kind of feels like Google Slides almost, but you're just creating kind of a quiz or an interactive activity for them, right? Right here, up here, you can share. So you can invite collaborators, but that is for the premium version, participants and this is very similar to all the other things. Anyone with the link, you can change that to no one. You can close that if you want. Download the QR code. Here's the link right here. Presentation sharing. You can actually copy the link and embed again. You can take this embed code and you can stick it in wherever you want to, and it will show the presentation. So as people communicate, you can actually see the results in there. Okay, you could present it from here. So if I actually had this, I could present it right now like this, and then I could share that with Ricardo and he could answer, which I'm not going to do at this moment. I'm just going to go back. All right, here are, I'm just going to go across. Ricardo, if I miss anything, please tell me. I'm just going to go ahead and go through. Okay, so here's examples. Here, so if you need some ideas, you can go through this as well. Look at these options over here: training, education, icebreaker. You can click on those and you can find these samples already here. And I didn't know this about Mentimeter, or it wasn't there before back then when we just started with it, right? So these are amazing. You can close that. You can choose your different themes because mine is just plain white right now. I know Ricardo likes the darker colors, very serious. So you could choose those right there. In your settings, you can also do lots of other things. Do you want it presenter paced so that the kids are actually going at your pace as you're going through the slides? Do you want the audience pace so the kids can, once they're done with one, they go to the next one automatically on their own? So some students will finish faster, some will take their time. So you can adjust that to your needs. Okay, you could hide the results, manually start the countdown. You could have Q&A. Oh, sorry. When would you like the audience to ask their questions? So you can allow them to ask questions on all the slides or just on slides that are just for Q&A. Okay. You could turn on moderation, but that's for the pro version. Comments from audience, presentation language right here, or always use English. So many things in here. Okay, so I'm going to close out of this. And so this is where we were before, choosing the different type of questions you want. Content is what was actually in that slide. And then you can actually customize that slide one by one instead of just doing the whole thing. Okay, I think I went through almost everything here. And then when you're done, you could present it and we could always go back to my presentations and it brings us back to our dashboard. So that was pretty quick. I know we're running out of time. I just wanted to get through it. Did I miss anything, Ricardo, that you wanted to add?
I just wanted to add that the same concept applies inside of Office 365 with Mentimeter. They do have an amazing integration. Same concept. Again, you will go to Insert. You will go to the three dots like we talked before. You will go to your add-ins, okay? And then if you don't have it, you will go to the store to look for it. I added Mentimeter in here, so you can kind of click on it, add. And notice that it's very easy. Actually, you just add the link from the Mentimeter that Teresa would have created on the Mentimeter account, put it in here, and it's going to throw it inside of the PowerPoint. So you don't have to be going outside into another platform. So you can actually make it function inside of PowerPoint too.
That's awesome.
Just throwing that out there because I think it's actually a great idea to be able to put it inside of your PowerPoints.
And I didn't know that's how you do it. So, wow, things you learn. I love it. That was even easier. All right, so we're going to go to our last one for today. And because we did spend a lot of time in the first two because we love them so much. But I think we're going to love this one even more, Ricardo, once we play with it more. This one is called Vevox. And that's what they say. I don't know if it's Vevox or Vevox. Sound all professional. But I think it's Vevox. And that's what it's going to be now because that's what I said. Okay, so it's again, it's in essence the same thing. Again, there's live polling, there's Q&A, there's a word cloud, but I really like the way it's set up. Some teachers might say, no, it's kind of limiting, but you won't know what I'm talking about. Let's just show you what it is. So let's show you from the student point of view. So Ricardo, did you have that open already?
Sure, let me open it right now. Here it comes.
Sure. All right, so this is from the student point of view. I made this. So you could see there's a little house right here. So this is actually the question that I asked, which superpower would you like most? I'm going to go ahead and let him select that. It's up to him.
Ooh, public speaking.
Which he already has, but we'll see.
And do I send it?
Yes, go ahead and send it.
Nice. Okay.
And then he also has the option, if you see right here, if you click in the middle, see where the house is at the top left, and then the middle, there's a chat. Not really a chat, a Q&A. So you can actually, while you're doing this as a student, you can go in and do your Q&A. And I put this down here where it says, please submit your question here. We will be moderating questions. I put that there so the students know what this is about. This could be a Q&A, or they could be actually answering a prompt. I don't know. So, I mean, he could put a question. Who knows? This is amazing. How can I set this up? I said that myself because I wanted to sound amazing, but I was just testing it out earlier. This is so cool. And then he would just send it, and then I would see that. And then on the last one, the very last one up there. So, yeah, Ricardo's liking them right now. Thank you so much.
I'm not familiar with this, so I'm always like amazed by it.
We might do a whole training on this later. So here we are. So this is a feedback survey. So if you want their feedback on a certain activity, and you could change the questions, you could change everything here. These are questions that were already set up for me. I just kind of threw them in there. And so this is great to get feedback. And this doesn't go to the kids. This just goes to you. So when you do share that presentation with the students, the feedback is just for you so that you know what to adjust as you're doing your instruction or for the future. Okay.
You'll be surprised how honest your students are and how this can help improve your teaching. I know I was scared to survey my kids about how my presentations went. And I know when I got responses like this, it was just like, oh my God, they're very honest. And it actually helped me, improve the way I was delivering my lessons. Pretty cool.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and Ricardo is having fun in here. I can see. You can go. Are you giving me a good review? At least give me a good review.
I am. Strongly agree.
You're not even reading it. Okay, so he's going to go ahead. So this is from my screen. This is the presentation screen. So your students are answering, and while they're answering, they're looking up at the screen to see where they stand with other students. So I could see, someone some random person in class said public speaking. We can have that conversation. And then down here at the bottom, I could close this poll if I wanted to. There's lots of options here. I can hide the results if I didn't want them to see it. I can also go over here to show Q&A. So I can actually go to the Q&A. Ricardo, I'm sorry, your share thingy is in my way. Can you move that? Can you move that little bar at the bottom?
Sure.
The one that says stop sharing. Don't click that. Just kind of move it to
Did it go
another
away?
screen.
I didn't move
No.
it.
Oh, you
That's
did? Okay.
yours then. It's yours.
Sorry. Yeah, I moved it over here. I moved to the screen, so I blamed you. I'm so sorry. I have a habit of doing that. Ricardo is not going to forgive me for that. Okay, so down at the bottom, right here where it says Show Q&A, I would click on that, and then now they could actually see the responses of the students right here. So I can kind of toggle between the results and then also the Q&A back and forth. And the only thing that doesn't show is a survey because that's for me. Okay, so and you can already see from here, this is how they join. They can go to vevox.app. I could also insert the link like I did into the presentation that Ricardo went to. There's a little mini QR code that actually works in there. So it's pretty amazing. So let me just go ahead and get out of here and just take you into the actual. So here I am. I'm just let me take you back. So here I am in the actual dashboard right here. So you can create a session. So that what I was using earlier was my Tech Forever session. So I'm just going to go ahead and go here to create session. I'm just going to give it a name. Again, demo everything today, right? We create it. And then when you're here, you actually can look to the left and it shows you can choose a poll if you want to. You can choose Q&A, just like what we did earlier, surveys. But we're just going to start from the beginning from a poll. So I'm like, oh, I don't really know what I want to do. You could create new right away, or you can go down here for some ideas. We can click on some of them and see where it takes us. So you can go to these questions and you can actually import them. You can select the ones that you want. Oh, look, this one looks familiar. I actually took that from here. I thought I was a genius, but not really. I stole it from somebody. And then I could import that if I wanted to. And then here we are. It's all created. I didn't have to do anything. It's all ready to go, which is really cool. But if you did want to create your own, you could create new right here. And then you can choose what type of question. Do you want multiple choice? Do you want a word cloud? Maybe I want a word cloud this time. And the question is, what is your favorite color? We're not going to do it, Ricardo. Okay, I just wanted to steal your idea because it was so amazing. Okay, and then I would create it. And then now I have that as well. Okay, so those are polls. And then I can go into the Q&A. I'm going to present this so that you see because we did add a lot of things, right? So now into the Q&A, you can actually add a question here. So post a question or announcement to the board to get things started. So when you click right there, it gives you suggestions. So this is what I did earlier. And I found some suggestions and I just chose them. And that was what it was. Or you could just say, what was the plot of the story? I don't know, whatever conversation you're having. And that can be your conversation starter. Okay. So, and again, there was samples there if you needed them, like what I did earlier. Okay. You also have survey that you can add and you can create a new one, or down here, student feedback surveys. Do you want employee feedback, meeting feedback? This is not just for education. This is for everybody. So when I clicked on student feedback survey, that's what I got earlier. All of these questions that Ricardo took so much time to answer very genuinely. I did that and I just imported them and it simply brought in every question from there. And I could also create new as well right here. And I would just simply add questions. Okay, so it's as simple as that. I'm going to go ahead and, you know what, I'm just going to go down here. I'm just going to go down because I like to go in order, even though part of me wants to click to present already. I'm trying to look at the time and see if yikes, okay, I'm a little over right now, but that's okay. So when they do answer things, you can actually also go through data, which is amazing. So even that itself is a conversation as well, going through the data of all your results right here. You can change your settings if you want. You can schedule when to start, of course, your time zone, your heading. Over here, let me just keep going. Different features right here. Do you want these to be on? Moderation, I think you need to have that feature. Okay, profanity filter, like we saw over there in Padlet. Automatically display results on poll close. So as soon as it closed, you want it to show up right away. Presentation view settings, show join instructions. These are all turned on for me so that they know how to join. Show response count, show QR code, things like that. Okay, identification. Do you want it anonymous or do you want them to be identified as they answer? Okay, do you want passcode protection? Okay, theme, lots of different themes. Lots, there's like 3, just kidding. There's a few more. Ooh, look at this one, Ricardo. Okay, I'm so
That's really
distracted.
cool.
Okay, and in sharing right here, to share a session with someone else, they also need to be a member of your account. So this is the tricky thing about Vevox. Okay, so sometimes, for now at least, you have to email them when you need things. And I want to have that conversation really quick because Vevox actually works inside Canvas. It actually works as an app in Canvas. Vevox is there, but in order to get the code, is it the security code, the secret code, or the
shared
key or the shared key? In order to get the shared key, you have to email them, which is kind of strange, but they provide it and it works. I've seen it demoed in some other sites, but it's not just automatic. Lots of things you can find the code yourself. But just so you know, if you do want to put it in Canvas in that way, then you would have to just email them for that. But anyways, so you can ask questions here. It shows you what's new. Like they're changing things all the time. PowerPoint add-in, I think Ricardo would know that. He doesn't have to demo it again, but it's in essence is the same as the other ones. Videos, webinars, help center, all of these things are here, and you can just go back to your sessions again right here. Okay, so you can adjust your account. There's not as many features in here because most of the features are actually inside your sessions. Okay, and you could see up here, I have this orange thing because this is a new account that I made, and you do have to verify your email. So make sure you do that because it tells me it's going to disappear, but it works on my other account. For some reason on this one, it's not sending me the email. So I'm probably going to have to contact them and see what's going on. But Ricardo, I'm not going to ask you because I know this is probably the first time, one of the first times you saw this, right?
First time, yeah. I'm really excited about learning more about it. I'm learning right now.
So probably the next time, we probably would have to have a whole PD on this because it's fairly new. And it's supposedly one of the number one out of all of these that we've, according to them, just kidding. I don't know. It says that on the internet, so it must be true. But this was the last one we were going to present today. I know we wanted to talk a little bit about other things, but we did run out of time. So we will make time if you need it in another session. But Ricardo, is there anything that I'm missing?
No, I was really excited. I know you kind of mentioned Google Forms, but I also was thinking about Microsoft Forms, and I noticed today when I was playing with it that they keep adding different items. I'm just in Office 365, and I have Forms right here. I just wanted to show you that if you are in Forms, and I just have a very simple form that I created, just add 2 questions: what grades or grades do you teach, and what subject do you teach? And then when you get the responses now with this type of short answers, it does do the word cloud too. So you do have the answer. So in essence, that's the same thing that we show you with PollEverywhere and with some of the other ones, but just inside of Forms that we all have access to. The reason why I went to Forms is because I just love the ability to have Immersive Reader in here with Office 365
Absolutely.
Forms. So I know that's kind of a great support for some of our students. So just to show you, when I go to preview, the students can have the Immersive Reader to have them support with reading the questions or being able to have the translations in here. I was subbing this week, and a student just came from a different country, and they had something on Google, and then we said, why don't we look at it in Forms? And I created it really quick, and the kit I just opened up when she had Immersive Reader in here available for her to be able to translate to her language. But I just thought, I'm not talking about that, just the fact that you do have the word cloud ability in here too.
Yeah, just imagine like letting them work independently on an activity or homework or something, and then coming back the next day and saying, okay, let's look at your results and let's, look at this word cloud, and just, it's just amazing having these activities with the kids and them seeing their work actually, being projected and, being heard, So thank you for sharing that. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that happens in Forms. So
Yeah.
Little things that you learn. I love it. He tried to interject that. I was trying to end the session already. Nice one. But worth it. So thank you for doing that. We did want to add more, but I think that's a good ending. I think so. Is there anything else you want to add, Ricardo?
I think that was
Say
it.
no.
That was it.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. I know that was a lot of information, but we'll be back again with you next week for our long-awaited session of gamifying your classroom. Get excited. So we'll see you next week, and thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.